Welcome everybody to another Bullet Brawl on a Chess Monday. Filling in today for my boys on Chess Therapy. Filling in today for them, assuming that you can all hear and see me and that you don't want any time wasted. We're going to go ahead and get the party started right away. I feel like after watching the Chess Bras show and Amon Hamilton's Material Odds show before that I need to be providing some of my own music. But the kind of music I would provide, I feel like isn't exactly the same level of, bump, chicka bump, like whatever club, the techno music that they got going. I don't feel like I have that in my repertoire. But I will sing some Bon Jovi, if you're interested. Yeah, no gallon of water today. Hashtag heartbroken. Need to make a trip to the old store. I'm using the old-fashioned way, like put water in a glass and drink it. Hey, whoa, right? Woe town. But let's not waste any more time. Welcome to the Bullet Brawl. If you want to challenge me, look at that fancy new template that tells you exactly what to do. Type /play. And many of you have already begun to do so. So many challengers, hardly enough time. The Bullet Brawl will commence right now. Who should we take on first? We got so many players ready to go. Chublaka, right? I love that guy, right? He's got a great username. One of the first people to jump in. Donkeyfish 87, Penguin Ninja. Is it Penguin Ninja or Penguin Ninja? Either way, I think let's start this Bullet Brawl off with a titled player battle and take on the Penguin Ninja, if that's his name, or is it Penguin Ninja? I'm playing 1-0 rather than 1-1, which is kind of against my current religion on Bullet Brawls against titled players, because I feel like I just am much more likely to blunder, and I'm a pretty selfish person. I like to win. Although I also like to just read all of the usernames, like I said, before I don't accept the challenge. That went well last week. Got a lot of angry tweets from that saying, right, what a meanie head. So this is a weird looking French so far. I'm not sure who's worse or who's more worse, right? Like I'm sure that nobody's better here, but somebody's probably worse. By default, somebody probably has the worst. A worse position than the other person, but I'm not sure who that is. Should I go pawn grabbing? Say what? He can do that, huh? If takes and bakes, I lose. Takes, and I lose. Shake, homie. Shake it out, right? Shake it out, as Florence and the Machine would say. I'm going to go for some sort of trickarooski that might involve me winning 2 pieces for the rook when he blunders. Nothing like it. Nothing like winning 2 pieces for the rook after your opponent blunders when that wasn't even part of your plan. That's about as good as it gets. Starring Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt. Did you know that? As Good as It Gets was one of the most influential romantic comedies I ever watched. And when you hear the term influential romantic comedy, you immediately question my choices in life. And I get that. I get that makes you think, Danny, you're being influenced by romantic comedies. But first of all, Jack Nicholson is absolutely underrated as a sweetheart in that role. Have you ever seen it? Greg Kinnear, Helen Hunt, Jack Nicholson, As Good as It Gets, the dog. That dog made me want to own a pug. I mean, wow. Anyway, but that is about as good as it gets when your opponent blunders there. But I did kind of see that coming a little bit. If he hadn't, my idea was to bring the knight from e1 to d3 and into c5. So I think I had some compensation. At least that's what I'm going to tell myself so that I sleep better tonight instead of feeling bad about completely swindling my way to the first victory here. Anyway, thank you everybody for being here. I'm excited. I hope you enjoyed your holiday. Hope you're off to a great 2016. Can't wait to keep everything going. I feel like this may go down as the best year in the history of Chess.com. And I mean that like for everybody. I feel like it's just everything about chess this year has me excited. I am excited about all the different things we're going to do, all the different shows we got going, all the different features we're rolling out. It's just going to be the best. I am excited. Did I say that yet? Did I say I was excited yet? If you didn't, okay, well, I'm excited. There you go. I'm going to put the knight on c3, bring the knight to e2, and then run the d pawn until he regrets his decisions in life. I guess just take it. Time to run the d pawn. He'll probably play g5, but I can do so many things here, including just offer the queen trade immediately. I don't think that he's going to be able to survive this. That's a pretty strong pawn, right? Isn't it? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's surviving this more than I think. What am I doing? Why don't I just... can I push the pawn? I can't push the pawn. Well, I can push the pawn now if he takes it. I'll do it. And then we'll take here. We'll give check. We will take, and then we'll pretend that we're defending. Why am I losing on time now? I don't understand that. I thought I was the one who was better on time. Well, somehow I drew that game, but I was way up on time. Am I like on some sort of lag here or something? That was hardcore. That guy survived by the hair on his chinny chin that time. He's a penguin. Penguin Ninja, which I think is awesome. I do get confused a little bit by the lack of consonants, and that's not just because I'm, from the Soviet alphabet school where I'm used to seeing enough L, K's, and N's together to, to build a house. But that said, I'm pretty excited about my position. I think he got a little bit too frisky for his own good with that. Now he better take with the king, but that's going to allow this, isn't it? I feel like this is going to be quick work here. Quick work of this one. And after rook to d8, I will trade queens, and he didn't see it. That was my anticipation. We roll through. He's going to try to checkmate me, but not before he hangs a few more pawns. All right, he resigns. That's theoretically the win, I guess, for the match. And I know we got a lot of waiters coming. So, should I play one more? All right, I'll play one more. All right, I'll play one more. Fine. Fine. You win. Here we go. Let's rinse and repeat this. This time I'll play a little bit faster, although this time he may not play as bad of an opening. Yeah, now we're in a Carol Khan Panov Botvinnik via transposition. Transposition, which is not something you do in bed at night with your spouse as you negotiate for the most comfortable side of the bed. I don't know if you have a most comfortable side of the bed, but I do, and I never get to sleep on it. It's pretty rough. I live a pretty rough life. A transposition where you finagle for the best pillow. You know what's funny is how much you argue over the best pillow in a relationship. Like, why not just get more pillows? I don't know why we don't just get more pillows. Like, I'm kind of frustrated by that, actually. Should I play knight there and go after the d pawn? I'm gonna see if he wants to trade the bishop first. He doesn't. I get it. And now I have to worry about knight to c6. But if he did it second. If he did it first, I would have taken, and then taken a1. If he does it second, now I'm guarding c6 with the knight. And I think I can play here. We'll go to trade town. Should we go to trade town? Interesting. He doesn't want to go to trade town. I'll go to trade town this way. He puts the knight on c6, which would seemingly be irritating, but where's it going next? I don't even know, right? Oh, that's where he's going. He wants to go get that pawn. That's a little bit irritating. Makes me a little more worried about this position than I was before, to be totally honest. A little bit more worried than I was before, honestly. What's he doing with that? I don't know. It's kind of just a big old check. Oh no, I just checkmated myself, but then he blundered it. He's pre-moving, and that's where he's got me. did it. That went well. That went about as well as it could have gone. Nothing like starting off the Bullet Brawl with a best of 5 win. We banged the gong. I've been forgetting about all the little props I got here. See, when you're a bad chess player like me and you have to keep people entertained, you add props to your show. You know, Eric Hansen, he doesn't need props because he's good. I need props to keep the people happy. Okay? All right, well, we got a lot of other people here who are ready to rock and roll. We have more players looking to jump in the Bullet Brawl. Let's take on the first comer of the day, Luca Car 90. Luca Car 90, what's up, homie? Welcome to the Bullet Brawl. Long-time watcher, first-time player, I think. I think this is our first meeting. First pro tip of the Bullet Brawl, don't watch the show. Pay attention to your live chess because you just cost yourself 9 seconds, buddy. You gotta pay attention to your live chess in case your challenge gets accepted because there's always a little bit of a lag which prevents the show in case somebody goes haywire and starts mouthing off explicitives where you can like delete it, right? So if Danny starts going and I'm gonna take and whatever, if I start mouthing off explicitives and need to get fired, we can prevent somebody from really going to town. So there's always going to be a little bit of a lag. So pay attention. I'm just going to go positional on this. This isn't Tal mode, a little more like Petrosian mode. I'm just going to go positional here. Knight versus bishop, doubled c-pawns, defend obvious threats. Fork town. We're going to go gobble up the c3 pawn after he plays queen e2. He'll play bishop d5. We're going to play rook to c8. He's going to have to guard the c-pawn, and we're going to play e6. What? He's not going to guard the c-pawn. That's okay with us, I guess. I mean, maybe we'll just back up. Yeah, why not? Why not just back up? Fine. Just back up. If he plays f5, we'll just put the knight right back into e5, and then that outpost square just got even more tasty. By kicking his bishop back and then playing knight to c5, we should be able to remove this and focus on the c2 pawn. We are going to keep this thing educational. I did not go over any of the games in the title player match because I never really seem to do that, right? That's not really a part of what we do. But we will go over the other games to provide some instruction, hopefully, on how those games went and what we can learn from them. I feel like that's the better way to do these things. I'm not sure this is the best way to play this one. I mean, given my advantage earlier, I feel like even the 2 pawns here is a little bit of a concession by me. But he should definitely put the rook behind the pawn. Now he's walking into a position where not only is he not going to get the a-pawn, but I think he's going to have the worst rook activity as well. So we'll see if he wants to make a trade. He says nay. That's a good decision by him. But in a 1-1 game, this I can really take my time and execute good technique. Should we check and then check again? I think so. Check. Don't en passant. One of the things that a lot of people do is en passant only because they never get a chance to do it, right? Human nature. But en passant there would not have been the best approach for sure. So we're just going to kind of build up on this position and then go get the h-pawn, principle of 2 weaknesses. We'll go get the h-pawn in this way by putting the rook on g3. We're not even going to care about the a-pawn at that point. Let's just go here. Invite the rook trade if he's interested. That's a little irritating, huh? Is it? I mean, there's a number of ways to still win. I guess I'm going to go here because he can't actually take the pawn. So that's important to note, is that rook to g1 was not actually threatening anything. Gaining a little bit of time now to bring the king forward. Good game by Lucar, though. Luca Carr. Good game, for sure. Played well. Definitely played well, Luca. So let's back up and take a quick peek at what happened. We had a Sicilian, an open Sicilian. The bishop on d3 is... It's fine. It's not the most accurate place for the bishop, not only because it weakens your protection of the knight in the center, which is kind of critical in a lot of these Sicilians, but it makes the position feel solid. You can get some situations like in a Scheveningen where the knights are here, bishops are here, and then white plays like, for the Scheveningen kingside attack with like f4, g4, that kind of stuff. So the bishop will end up on d3 in some of those positions, but otherwise it's just not a natural developing move for the king. So that's what I would say about that. Let's see. So we move forward a little bit. Ends up being not that big of a deal. There's no immediate tactics to take advantage of it. But now you're simplifying the position a little bit too aggressively. No need to. Probably just should retreat this knight to b3 and keep the bishop on g5. Sometimes you do take in these positions only if you can follow it up with like an immediate knight to d5, which sometimes has tactical consequences. Other times you get like a Marco Hop structure with the knight on d5, and I'm pretty sure I covered that in the failed video series I did on Pawn Structure 101. I think I got that far before eventually calling it quits, but okay. Yeah. So let's see. So we had a few more moves, and I going for this positional edge is just kind of like committing to a simple advantage. I'm not going for any sort of big tactics. But it took a little longer than I wanted to. Where did I misplay it? Right here, I think. I thought I was trapping the bishop. I should have just defended the d-pawn. Yeah. I should have just played rook d8 and then gone back for this. Something like this would have been a little more straightforward. But I didn't. I didn't see anything else immediately here to take advantage of the discovery. So we simplified into an endgame, and really, you played pretty well using your increment wisely, finding some good defensive chances, but, it had been lost for a while, so... but okay. Here we go. Let's do the next one. We got more and more people waiting. The Super Scion, Miso Walker, Andre Mack, Oh My Gorseth. Oh My Gorseth. You challenged me to 10-0, buddy. This isn't a blitz brawl. This is a bullet brawl. We got X Dino mode. X Dino mode. That's interesting. Mr. Goodfilm. I'm really into usernames right now. Apparently, Urja. It's 2-1 rated. That's too slow for me. All right. A saying in Chess.com bullet is, if it's too fast, you're too old. No, I'm actually pretty sure that Joe Pesci said that in a movie. What movie did he say that in? First time I've given away a gold membership based on pop culture reference. First person to tweet at me what movie Joe Pesci said, if it's too loud, you're too old, wins a 1 month gold membership. There you go. Tweet at me. All right, let's take on some more people as people wait. My good Mr. Goodfilm. Welcome, buddy. Welcome to the Bullet Brawl. Let's do it. What time control is this, by the way? This is 1-0? Okay, cool. Was a little confused. Normally you should play Queen F6 there. We'll talk about why. We'll talk about why after this game, and everybody who's curious will learn something as to why you're supposed to play Queen F6 and not B takes C6 immediately. Yeah, we'll use our majority. Now we have tactics, making the e6 pawn poisoned, but he didn't realize it was poisoned. That's why it was poisoned, because of the fork. So he needed to do something else, but already I was going to be, defending a protected passed pawn on e6, which should have led to Happy Town. Should have led to Happy Town, population me, so would have been lost either way, and we will show him why he got such a bad position in the Scotch, which will be good. Good lesson for all. Well, a tough game, Mr. Goodfilm. Sorry about that. Here's why that game was so tough to start. And it's important to recognize that the lesson I'm going to give you is not just, me pointing out little things. I mean, we know the position got bad for you after you blundered the bishop on e6, right? But often, the first mistake you make in a game is just as important to recognize as the last mistake, because it's really the first moment where you left theory, or you left the commonly accepted approach as far as how the position should be played. And one, you should always recognize that in your games, because it's the most easy to correct. It's the most likely position you will get again. So if everyone's not taking notes on this, you're making a mistake, and you're actually doing yourself a disservice. If you remember a few bullet brawls ago, I gave advice on how bullet chess and blitz chess can be useful to your game. Not trying to convince you that bullet chess is ever more useful than a tournament. It's not. And it's never more useful than studying. That's not true. I'm not trying to go against the old school mindset that says bullet chess is better than than standard games. That would be ridiculous. Of course, higher quality games are played in higher quality time controls. But I also believe it's a mistake when old school coaches or when anybody convinces themselves that you can't get better from playing fast time controls too. It's not true. If it was that detrimental to your game, Hikaru Nakamura would be, 2,700 instead of 2,800, right? He wouldn't be able to maintain the high level of chess he does if bullet chess was really a detriment. So beyond that little rant aside, I will say that the most easy mistake to correct in your chess is the first mistake you make, and then you can build on that. Like I said, it's like a stepping stone. So maybe at first you're making mistakes on move 5 or 6, but if you actually make the effort to at least acknowledge what was accepted in terms of theory, why did I make the mistake, what did I not understand about what was coming in the middle game or whatever, every one of those mistakes is how you get better. It's just one game at a time. And if that's the case, then how could playing quick games not be a good idea? Because then the more games you get in, the better you get, because the more opportunities you have to learn where you went wrong, the better. Whereas in longer games, it doesn't reflect on the same parts of the game. So again, why is not playing Queen F6 so critical? Well, in the Scotch opening, as soon as I take on C6, you're going to end up with double pawns, and you're going to have the worst of the pawn structure. Whether you take with the B or the D pawn, white basically has a 4-on-3 majority as far as the middle game is concerned, and positionally, you are worse. So how do you justify your position normally when your opponent has better long-term chances, just in general in chess? What's the advice? Well, usually you get some sort of compensation for that. Sometimes it's the bishop pair, right? Like if we're talking about the Ruy Lopez, we can switch over to one of my bullet brawl analysis boards. Like in the Ruy Lopez, when you get a similar structure like from the exchange variation, by the way, this is like the exact same structure, right? When you get a similar structure, what does black have in terms of compensation? The bishop pair, okay? So when you get a worse structure, usually you should get something. If you don't play Queen F6, you don't get anything, and you're worse positionally. Queen F6 is a move that is an inner Miso, gaining a tempo on the F2 pawn. Hashtag checkmate, right? Chekalina Lashlamba, get some. So I have to guard it, either by playing Queen F3, which is a line, which in turn reaches a structure that white has just as many positional issues as black, or I play Queen to D2, which is what I would have played. It's probably the most common line. And now when black takes this way, yes, he does have the worst position in terms of the structural 4-on-3 disadvantage. However, he has a development lead because my queen is the old lady who swallowed the fly. Anytime you put a queen in front of a minor piece, it's like the queen, she swallowed the fly, the bishop swallows this. It's like a chain reaction of bad things. It's not ideal for me to have a major piece in front of a minor piece. So you get a development lead, and by taking with the D pawn, you get to quickly bring more pieces into the center. So that's how black finds compensation on a fundamental level for having a worse structure in the Scotch. Are you listening yet? I hope so. So if you don't, so again, we're going to get to the blunder, but one advice for bullet, pay attention to where you made your first mistake, where you first left theory. How do you know what theory is if you don't have Danny going on a rant like this? Well, you can use Chess.com's Opening Explorer. You can download ChessBase, use other tools. There's plenty of them available. I'm giving good chess advice here. I'm not just promoting my own website. ChessBase, phenomenal, right? The best database software available. There's all kinds of ECO tools online. And yeah, our tool online, just the Opening Explorer, is good enough for what most people need. So you can make the effort to find this out on your own. And again, when you didn't do that, you get a positionally worse game, double pawns, isolated A pawn, and I basically still have the 4-on-3 majority for the middle game, even if you have the D pawn here, and I have no development problems. So what happened in our game, right? What happened in our game was exactly that. And I just figured out a new V3 bug. Huh. I reloaded the game with the reload button here. Matt, I know you're probably watching the. It didn't actually reload the full game. It only went to the last position. So that's only new. We must have done a recent push. So Queen F6 is what you didn't play. So what'd you do? You played B takes C6, and so now we get some position like this where I'm gonna play King H1 and do what I normally do in a Scotch, which is advance my space advantage, and I'm structurally better, and you have no development lead, which is what you should get with Queen F6. Even if you play 95 with tempo, I can just back up because now I lose the bishop pair, and now I'm gonna be returning the favor and playing F4 with the tempo next. So you played what did you do? You played bishop B6. I played F4. You played D5. I played E5, and now you played F6, and I played E6. Of course, the pawn is poisoned, and that's what happened. I'm pretty sure I remembered the game right, but I don't have the exact thing there. So anyway, that's a good lesson, and hopefully a good one both in terms of how you can use blitz and bullet to your advantage and get better, why you should pay attention to the first mistake as opposed to the last mistake. See, last mistakes are important too. Often they can reflect other issues that you're doing. Like if you're making your last mistakes because you're always down on time, you need to learn better time management. If you made your last mistake in the endgame, maybe you got to improve the endgame, whatever. Last mistakes can reflect, like the phase of the game weaknesses, calculation weakness, everything. But the first mistake of the game is also really important. And then when you end up making later blunders, often little mistakes led to big mistakes. And so that first mistake you made probably also had something to do with it. So there you go. That's the advice there. Let's take on the next person. Calibros. Is it Calibros? Like you got bros from different modes and caliphones? Does someone ever say caliphones? That should be a new thing. Let's start calling California caliphones. Right? I got bros and caliphones. And spell it with an F, obviously, right? Because we want to be at least slightly ironic. Caliphones. We have a dragon. I got a sip of water here. I know everyone's disappointed about my massive, the lack of a massive gallon. I'm just as disappointed as you are. Try and get it, all right? I get it. So now what? If he plays B3, it feels like we're just going to get real frisky, right? We're going to go Dudley Moore on this and start, suggesting inappropriate things. Why did I say Dudley Moore? I have no idea. What do I have against Dudley Moore? When my subconscious starts streaming, I feel like there should be some sort of like disclaimer that goes before this, like just like Fox News or something like, Chess.com, Danny's subconscious opinions do not reflect in any way the official statements of Chess.com. Warning. Opinions expressed in this Bullet Brawl broadcast do not in any way reflect the official statements or feelings of Chess.com. That'd be funny. So this is just very quick mistakes I will point out before we get to the next game in the Brawl. Very quick mistakes which made a quick work of the opponent here. Yeah. So the first one was capturing on C6. Never a good idea. Never a good idea to take on C6, strengthen black center in the Sicilian, and open the B file. Don't do it. So that's the first thing. Secondly, taking the pawn, the A7 pawn is obviously worse than the B pawn, regardless of the fact that it misplaces the bishop. The B pawn is a more important pawn for the structure. It guards the knight and everything. So you needed to either play rook B1 or castles long and roll the dice, or B3, but you're already much worse here, honestly. That's how bad it is in the dragon to make this move and then play early G4. And now with the B-pawn falling, we were even more likely to get to immediate tactics. You kind of forced my hand by kicking the knight out of the way and opening up the bishop. So, but the first mistake you made, knight takes C6, that's the one that you can immediately correct. So that's the one that should be most valuable for you on today's show. And let's take on our next comer. Our next one, we have the Miso Walker. Miso Walker, I know this guy. Welcome, Miso. I always wonder, is miso like for miso soup? I mean, I don't know. Are you a miso soup fan? Or are you a fan of Jar Jar Binks? Like Misa think Misa angry, that kind of thing? Right? I got a stuffy nose in case you couldn't tell. I tried to clear it before the show, but I'm a human being. All right, forgive me. So here we have a London with the bishop being stuck on c1. Probably not the best approach white can take. Not the most aggressive, certainly. It is playable. You can play b3 or a3 and b4 and try to play it like a Kali. But with the lack of pieces in the center, I'm just gonna challenge the dark squares, and hopefully that's enough to have an edge against the strong structural way the pawns come together. Looks like it is. Should I play like a bind position or just trade off the light square bishops? I don't even know. I'm going to go for a bind. When in doubt, bind it out. Whoa. Advice and it rhymed. When in doubt, bind it out. Like some people walk it out when they're stressed, I bind it out. I go for a bind. If you wonder what a bind is, it's these two pawns in the center over gripping. It's square over control. When in doubt, bind it out. And unfortunately for Miso, it's headed the wrong direction right here. We'll try to take advantage of that pin, which was a pin. He didn't have enough time to deal with it, so now he's in full-blown pre-move mode, which we respect. I live my life in pre-move mode, so no judgments there, right? So I played c5 early, which if Miso is paying attention to the analysis here, you have to remember that the idea of c5 early is I'm getting you to sort of to show me your hand. Those who are committed to getting these like Tory London positions, you're making a little bit of a concession by playing e3 early because you've already taken away your ability for the bishop to get outside the structure. You can play c3, which at least supports the center and keeps that open, but it also tells me, okay, he's really committed to getting the London structure, so now I know I'm going to want a fianchetto. Again, as a Nimzo player, what is some of the advice I've given against the Tory London before? That I think the best ways to deal with that sort of like London system structure often is a dark square fianchetto of the bishop and a challenge of the dark squares. But as a Nimzo player, if I play g6 here, well then you play c4 and you transpose into a mainline King's Indian, and I'm like, huh? I mean, I can play the King's Indian, but this is like what I would do on a high level. So I play c5 early. That's part of my repertoire. I have a few things in mind. Like, you know, if you play c4, I can either take it. I can also play e6, and I've transposed into like a Blumenfeld, Queen's Indian. If you play e3 or c3, now I know you're committed to the London, so I can play b6 to defend the pawn and then go for this. Okay? Or if you play d5, okay, now if you were a London Tory player, there's a chance I took you out of your game. And sometimes I play this accelerated b5 line, like even in tournaments, which has some risks. There's a really challenging line with bishop g5, but I'm not going to get into all that theory. But that's kind of my thought process behind that, is changing the game with an early c5 there. Surprisingly, one of the most irritating lines to face is actually just taking immediately. Yakov plays that against me. I hate when I play Yakov. I don't hate Yakov. I love Yakov, but I hate playing Yakov. He just owns me. He always... What am I supposed to do against this, by the way? Does anybody have any tips? I think I keep playing bad moves. That's what I think. The jury may be out on that. Maybe I just play bad moves later. But okay, that's the advice for Miso right there. Now we're going to take on another, I think... long-time watcher, first-time player. There's a username. I'm into usernames I don't recognize today. So if you're a regular watcher of the Bullet Brawl and someone who's played before, you're like, really, Danny? Okay, well that guy just aborted, so we're gonna get somebody else. All right, we'll take on a regular showman. Here we go. Super Scion, you're up, man. You are up. I forgot that you do have the most awesome avatar with Dragon Ball Z there. So you are sort of cool by association, and now we have one of those scotches we just discussed. Now we have one of those scotches we just discussed, and we have played all theories so far. We'll see how he handles this position. Aha! He goes for the old avoiding the queen trade line, but I'm just gonna go grab a pawn. I'm greedy, you know. It's a pawn, and if I can get the queens off the board, I'll be more than happy. So that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. Go here. Offer the trade. Now I have a really funny way I want to play this. Bishop d3. I want to go for something kind of fun. Mix it up. put the king in the center, and maybe use the bishops for some sort of like compensation on the king side. I'm not saying it was totally sound. I think f5 was his best idea, but it's bullet. It's bullet, my friends, and I'm going to get a big attack. And that's what I'm all about. Now we're going to rush forward. We are going to rush forward, and it's going to get real ugly real quick for black on the king side. Right? That's what we wanted. We'll play f5, open up lines, 2 bishops, bringing home the bacon, if there is such a thing. I think you can bring home bacon. That's a thing. Yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're bringing home bacon. Now I have this move, which is kind of unnecessary. Is it unnecessary? There, takes. He's going to get some checks, but I don't think he has anything. And I think he's going to get mated before he gets anything. So that's what I'm banking on, as the checkmate will ensue. No mates. We haven't rung that bell yet, huh? All right, well, that was interesting. We had a Scotch. Super Scion played the way it was supposed to be played. This is theory. Queen f4 is not the only way to play it, but it's one of the most common ways to try to get the endgame. Because what do I have in this position? I have a receding hairline, but I also have a 4-on-3 majority, okay? And so simplifying the position is in my favor. There's a few things you can do. One, if you're going to sack the c-pawn, you should just play knight to g6. At least gain a tempo, and when I take on c7, get castled. You basically would get the same kind of position you got, but up maybe a couple moves. Queen to g6 is certainly not right. The most common way the position is played is actually queen takes f4. They trade, and then you can just back up the bishop to b6 and guard the pawn. Because even though I have the 4-on-3, I have some development issues to figure out. But you played queen g6. This was kind of interesting. I just want to show that my sack wasn't sound, because I don't think it was. I think I should play maybe just bishop to d3 here and try to get castled. You know what else I had was bishop g5. Yeah, so I had better moves here, but I went for this sack, and if he had played f5 here, I don't know. I don't know. You're actually, I mean, you're waiting for me to say something else. I actually don't know. I think I'm maybe worse. He's just opening up the position. I think my attack is no bueno. So that was not good for me, but he didn't, luckily, and I got all the things I dreamed of when I went for the sack, which was very similar to this, literally. What I didn't dream of when I went for the sack was that f5 was strong. So I got a little lucky there, but it's also part of playing bullet chess. I should have played something more solid, bishop to g5, as previously stated. Ugh. All right, next song. Speaking of songs, I certainly have not sang any songs today. Let's take on Jai M. Jai CM. Jai see you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. No more monkeys jumping on the bed. By subconscious rants. I don't know how else to talk about that. So here we go. We win back the pawn, and we've equalized at least, which is why I like this line. And it is certainly favorable. Now I should just go attack the lead pawn. One of the best ways to take advantage of hanging pawns is to just attack the lead pawn, because if they take it, as he did here, you get these kind of positions where the pawn behind it is a serious problem. So now we want to develop, but we don't. I don't know. I'm going to kind of simplify the whole thing here. I'm going to simplify the whole thing because I feel like it was the fastest way for me to get developed, and if he takes b7, I can win back my pawn. If he goes here, I guess I'll just go grab another pawn. That's what I'm thinking. And should I grab another pawn? Why not? He's just being very, very generous right now, but now he might actually find a way to win back that pawn if I'm not careful. Uh-oh, look at my time. I just realized I have a little bit of a problem here. My time is a real issue. He's like basically pre-moving now, and I'm in trouble. I forgot about my time earlier. That's the truth. Boom. Boom. I probably should not have done that, but he is crumbling under the pressure. He actually had a chance, and so because of that, he got very nervous, which I understand. No judgments. Getting a little bit nervous, but he started trying to flag me instead of continuing to play decent moves and take advantage of my mismanagement. See, that's something to remember about Bolt. Like sometimes you get up on time not because you were playing so much faster, but because your opponents sort of mismanaged their time, just like took too much time. And so you have to remember the way you got there was not by blitzing them, like starting to pre-move everything, but just basically by playing decent moves. And it doesn't mean you don't speed up. Everybody speeds up as you get down to the critical under 10 seconds moment. But I mean, because this game was better for me from the whole start. It was just time, right? So, you know, this is a good example of you need to learn a little bit better theory. Honestly, I feel like these days when Black plays this line, you kind of have to try to play D3 before you play 92 to prevent this sack on D5. You can also play a different line, of course. You can also play D3 and Knight F3 or other things. But if you're committed to the E3 Knight G2 development, play E3 and then D3 a little bit better, because this tactic is just a very common way for Black to equalize quickly in this line. And this approach you took left me more than equal. I'm already much better with the bishop pair and horrible pawn weaknesses. Other moves are probably okay too. But I just played this sort of positionally. I've been sort of committed to you guys that I'm going to play higher quality chess, and so that we can analyze these things and do better from that. But here I think I took too much time there, and then I took too much time further. So, you know, it's an endgame where I'm the only one who can win. But now I was already, I think, down like 20 seconds on time and nervous. Oh, actually, look at the time log. Oh, I didn't even know that we had that. Look at that. That's a cool new feature. You guys see that? I didn't even know we had this part of our site. Look at that. As we play through the moves, it tells you how much time you had on each move. That's really cool. So we can actually see exactly where I took my time. I was up on time, right? So I took a few seconds, and then so I took 8 seconds there, unnecessary. And then I took another 5 seconds there. So I was still doing okay, though, like up until this moment where he really, I guess, picked it up. And, oh, wait, look at that. Yeah, this moment right here, I went from 27 to 22. That was big. So 5 seconds on moves that should have been a lot faster. And here you can see he was really making an effort to play faster than me, and with it ended up blundering away a lot of pieces. But that's really cool. I didn't know we had that feature, which is really useful when you know, that's actually something that as a chess coach, I mean, ICC's had this for also. I'm not just touting Chess.com's features. ICC had that for a long time, but the way technology stuff works differently. But it's really important to have that, because if you play longer games on our site and you analyze it, being able to see the time log and where you manage your time can be really useful, because sometimes people find that the moves that they took the most time on were actually blunders. And there's, like, if you have a coach, they can give you all kinds of advice about that. I mean, from psychological advice to practical advice to why are you taking 30 seconds on a move that could have been played in 1 second, right? And time management is a very important part of the game, because you can lose because you're under time pressure and blame, you know, the gods if you want to, but good luck getting better with that lack of responsibility, right? So you got to figure out where you manage your time, and I really like that feature. Unfortunately, it came with the broken feature of, and I've already reported this to Matt, that if a random move is made and then you click the reset button, like you break the game, normally this little reset button, I'll report it later too, is broken, and it doesn't actually recall the analysis, so that's unfortunate. But we'll fix that, as we do with everything. Next game. I have a sore throat today. All right, we got Reese's Pieces. That sounds like fun. Why does my camera keep doing that? It goes in and out of focus. A little weird, huh? Hey, I'm here. I'm not over there. It's like, hey, I'm here. It's going online. Everyone knows about it, all right? Hey. All right, I didn't play the bind. I just played the main line. And I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it is time to... what in the world is this about? This can't be good for him. It is time to commit the crime. Hashtag rhyme time. I'm taking way too much time here to try to punish this weird opening. And I know it. I know I'm breaking my own rules right now, but I'm kind of doing it anyway, spending way too much time here. Not something I should really be doing, but it's too late. Is it 1-1? Oh, it is 1-1. Well, that'll help. That'll help later as we get into a very unorthodox type of position here. And I slowly kind of work my way back into maybe having a tiny edge. I wonder what I did wrong there. What am I supposed to do against e6? That's just a bad move, but I clearly mishandled it. I don't even know what I did totally wrong. But it had to be something. Now I got to take care and go grab that pawn, I think. A pawn is a pawn, even if the piece is pinned. Well, feeling pretty confident now, especially with the 1-1, but I'm still a little frustrated with how I handled that opening. Is there no way for me to just like checkmate him there? That could be really fun, right? That could be really fun to get wild with some sort of checkmate attack over there against the king. Darn it, he's weaseling his way out of it. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Oop, but we'll take that. Check. I guess we'll just make our lives easy. Make our lives a little easier. Just go get a queen. Queentown. Okay. Exactly sure what's going on here with the 1-1 game, but at least he played it out. Maybe he just wanted the bell rung. You got to respect a guy for getting his bell rung, right? First checkmate of the day, everybody. First checkmate of the day. So what happened there? Now I'm just curious for myself, just following my own advice to you. As soon as the first move was played that wasn't what I knew, and so this is a regular accelerated dragon where I'm trying to get the bishop c4 Yugoslav attack. Of course, d6 is normal. Should I be taking and playing e5 immediately? Should I basically be ignoring it? I wonder if I should just ignore it. But maybe not with f3, maybe with castle short, because e6 is such a counter-positional move in the dragon, right? It weakens the dark squares and should have consequences because of that. Plus, if I castle and he plays d5, can I take and then just kind of isolate the pawn, right? I'm not committed to the Yugoslav attack. So those would be possibilities to maybe revisit. I can also take and play e5, and if knight d5, take it and then defend the e5 pawn. I just didn't like that, and I still don't like that. I feel like he can play d6 there, and what's the point? Am I just like being overly worried about this? I don't think so. I think this is the right approach for him. So I feel like castling, playing traditional, something like this, and if he goes here, like take it and play against the IQP would seem like the most one simple thing to do. But one of the things you can notice, actually, and it wasn't even my intention, but if you think about how I just went through that whole thought process there, obviously you weren't looking at a man who knew even like, somebody like theoretically should, right? And maybe sometimes after you analyze things, you realize later you did know the theory, but in this moment, I don't. And I feel like sometimes seeing how players stronger than you approach positions where they don't know the move is more instructive than watching them talk about positions where they already know the move. Because I'm not giving you direct advice because I don't know the exact concrete answer, but you're able to see me go through a critical thinking process, which is something I've been advising you to do. When a move is made that you don't understand, or that left theory, or for whatever reason you are on your own for the first time, there's a critical thinking process that should happen there. And the first thing that should generally happen is not a question of is that a good or a bad move, but just recognize the literal differences between the move that was played and the move you were expecting. Right? This move is not d6, so it doesn't threaten knight g4. It does weaken the dark squares, and it supports d5 more aggressively. Those are like the literal things it does. I haven't decided if it's good or bad totally yet. Of course, like I kind of decided it was dubious when I first saw it because I normally at this level, like if I see a move I don't know, there's a pretty good chance it's dubious. But it is still just an important critical thinking process to see. And I would highly recommend that if you're watching, all the different strong chess players online, and as they talk about their thought process, you shouldn't only be paying attention to when they're giving you some sort of advice, like a lecture in a position they know, but just looking at how they approach positions that they don't know. Because I may even be wrong. That's not really the point. The point is just seeing like, okay, I assessed what's literally different. Everything I just said. I assessed like the potential weaknesses for both sides, and then I consider, do I need to go the same approach? I looked at that. Do I need to do something drastically different than a Yugoslav attack, which is kind of what I went to? But you can't really decide accurately in your own tournament games if you should do something drastically different or I hate my throat right now. Or the same thing and kind of say, okay, this thing that this guy did is bad, but the best way for me to take advantage of it is really just to execute the same plan because he's sort of maybe down a tempo in the same way, right, in the same kind of line. But sometimes someone does something that does require action, something different, and that's the kind of thing you want to take advantage of. So there you go. It's a pro tip. Pro tip. Are you guys enjoying the show? I say make some, you say noise. Make some. I say make some, you say noise. Make some noise, make some noise. All right, let's go with practicality. Practicality sounds like a tasty little recipe. A tasty little recipe, right? It's like, oh yeah, right, I'm tasty. Yeah, right. I'm also paying a little bit too much attention to the stream here, love, because I forgot to check my live chess, and now I'm going to move down like 15 seconds here. Breaking rule number 1 for the bullet brawls, yeah? Rule number 1, Aussie wanted 77 green M&Ms. Look at the Scotch today. We are rocking the Scotch. Rock'em sock'em Scotch robots. Rock'em sock'em robots playing all theory. All theory, although not quite anymore. Bishop b6, I'm going to take it at some point here. Get the bishop pair, and then try to execute immediately on this side of the board. Because now without the dark square bishop, I'm able to push 3 times. 1, 2, 3. My wife texted me, let me know the plans for this afternoon with the kids going to soccer. Actually, it's football, especially when I'm having this accent, right? Yes. I will. I will challenge you directly. Yes, I will. I will challenge you directly on the tactics you're trying to create. Wife couldn't get the car out of the snow, right? It's like, oh no. She's probably a little bit miffed that I'm not there to help dig it out of the snow. You're like, Danny, does it snow where you live? Yes, it actually does, yeah? Actually, it does. It snows quite often in the winter time. Let's take it. I'm going to take f7 here if he doesn't take with the rook. Oh, nice. Take it. Now what I'd really like to do is get some kind of nasty sack. I'd like to do something nasty. Honey Badger style. But okay, we weren't given the possibility to checkmate. I wanted to play queen takes f8 and then mate. So what happened there? We played another Scotch. He played all theory. This is all correct. The correct move here is bishop to d4. You don't really want to put your bishop in a position where I can just win the bishop here. It's one of the key pressure points you have on white structure here is the f2 pawn. And the fact that it's not easy for me to just advance this majority because of that beastly bishop. So the main line goes like bishop d4 in here, and then you can play rook d8, and I can castle, and there can, there can be knight e7 with queen g5. There can also sometimes be ideas with c3, and then things become a mess. I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to bore you, all right? I'm feeling a little verklempt. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I promised myself I wouldn't cry sitting in the dark. All right, so yeah. That's all you can learn here is that you need to play bishop d4, all right, honey? You ever notice how they always say honey and they talk about coffee as they're sitting in the dark? They're sitting in the dark and they're talking about coffee and all the times that things didn't go their way in life. That's what they're doing. Old ladies talking about sitting in the dark, drinking coffee. All right, I love you, dear. All right, doll. All right, doll, get back to me. All right, dear. Here, we're going to play a French here. I'm going to get some coffee. I got my snacks. Did you remember your snacks, honey? Honey, did you remember your snacks? Don't forget your snacks. All right, he's got a bad French, but how am I going to take advantage of it? I don't even know here. I'm going to do my best. That's all I ever asked of you. All right, Jonathan, all I ever asked of you was to do your best. Do your best, honey. All right, I'm going to go checkmate him over there now. Maybe on b7 here. If I'm lucky, I'm going to get the checkmate that I've always desired ever since your father left me. Oh, no. He found a way out of it. I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy at all. I'm not happy at all, Sully. I've never made fun of you. I'm going to play b5, and I'm going to try to take advantage of the backward c pawn. Maybe a4. If I can stop him from getting any kind of space here. He wants to play e5, does he? All right. We're not going to prevent him to do something that would be bad for his position anyway. Right? That would be counterproductive of us. We're going to play here. And we're going to play knight e5. Actually, we're going to try to trap the rook first. Maybe we can play knight here and make a big trade of everything. It might not be such a bad idea. That was a mouse slip. I meant to play rook h7. I might actually lose this game now. That was a 100% mouse slip. I have to play much faster. Much faster. I'm going to have to play now. I'm going to lose. I'm going to totally lose. That was just a total mouse slip. 100% no excuses mouse slip. All right, duel. Maybe I have a chance. Oh, no, not after that move. I'm just going to lose everything now. I am losing everything. Oh, my God, I checkmated myself. That should be like Danny goes crazy, trances old New York woman, checkmates himself. That should be the highlight. Rensch goes crazy, trances old New York woman, checkmates self. No, seriously though, that was just like, I only lost that game because of the mouse slip. All right, I went right here, and then I was feeling a little bit tired. Maybe I was a little bit distracted. Thinking back on your father, right here, I played rook h6 instead of rook h7. That was a bad idea. But okay, no, seriously though, whoever Alekine attack is, you are welcome for the donation to your rating point pool, and very good. What was that game earlier? But I honestly played terrible. I should get. What is he doing here? Bishop d7 and knight to c. This is not a good idea for you. Okay, I mean all results aside. If you're going to take this approach, at least put the bishop on this diagonal. One of the main ways you have to play this position is to at some point strike with c5. Otherwise, you're just worse. In fact, it's so bad, maybe I shouldn't have even committed to the attack. Maybe I should have just castled long, and then done the same kind of thing. H4 might have been a little unnecessary. And then I spent all this time just messing around. What was I doing with bishop? I should have played knight c5 again for so long. Just put the knight on c5 already. All right, duel. All right, so then I finally do something, but then I go for this cheap checkmate. That was stupid of me. That's just me being greedy. If I take here and then play bishop b5 or something, this looks pretty ugly. I can also maybe just play what I should do, like solid chess. So I deserved what I got in this game. Honestly, I deserved what I got, even with everything that happened and the fact that I shouldn't have lost. I messed around. I didn't play what was important, and then I eventually lost, but mainly because of a mouse slip. But okay, I deserve what I got. All right, I learned my lesson. All right. Let's take on Austinator. All right. Here we go, dragon. Here we go. Here we go, dragon. Here we go. We're gonna play the dragon. Here we go. Doop, doop. He's gonna play the... Stop it, you silly mouse. You silly, silly mouse. What am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do here? I don't know. Go here? I guess so. Seems reasonable enough. Whoa, town. Whoa, town. Whoa, town. The D pawn is weak. I will capture it and then simplify the position. Oops. He's going after the C pawn. The C pawn. The C pawn. C pawn. We will simplify just as prophesized. I will win the rook and knight endgame. Should that be our second pop culture thing? The problem is everyone knows what movie I'm quoting there, right? I mean, you should. All right, fine. First person to tell me what tune I'm singing from what movie gets their gold membership on Twitter. Tweet at me, peeps. Tweet at me, peeps. You've got to believe I will give you a gold membership. All right, so that wasn't so good for my opponent. We had this early accelerated dragon, which is totally playable to here. I don't remember. I think I'm supposed to take here. It would make sense, and even this, I mean, what he got was certainly not good. Because the D pawn was weak. Anyway, but if he takes the queen, I'm going to play bishop f4 maybe, and then try to get castled long. I don't think this hyper-accelerated dragon is the bees for black, personally. I think that it relies a lot on you're getting a lot of wins in blitz because people don't know what they're doing. But against the main line here, I don't think it's very good. So it's just one man's opinion, all right? One man's opinion, talking about sitting in the dark, feeling sorry for myself, all right? I'm a little lonely. I'm going to eat my sunflower seeds out of my coffee can, all right? Danny, what are you talking about here? Play chess, all right? Stop talking about it, all right? I'm sitting in the dark. All right. A dragon. Aha. So this is what we could have got from that first game that the guy didn't play it right with the bishop on d3. And this is more playable for white. Still not the best, not the biggest advantages white's going to get against a dragon, but doable. It's doable, all right, dear. All right, duel. All right. Okay, maybe I should have just taken the bishop here immediately, but why rush it? Now I win the exchange, because if he takes with the pawn, I win the knight. If he takes with the queen, I'm going to skewer him. That's a skewer. It's the tactic I learned in Mark's puzzle book. All right? All right, so what happened here? This is fine. You can play this way in the dragon, knight b3. Although with bishop d3 on knight d3, I guess the best thing for me to do is just d5. One of the biggest disadvantages, again, to blocking the d file is not just the d4 knight that I highlighted earlier. If you're just joining the show, then you don't know which game I'm talking about, which is clearly a you problem. But The other disadvantage is that it doesn't stop d5. So that's what I should have done here. D5 equalizes easily, and then black has the potential to be better very quickly. So when I didn't do that, now we're in a position that's much more playable for white. But I'll put it this way. If you're not castling long and playing the Yugoslav attack, then you don't have a lot of purpose for f3. What does f3 do? f3 supports g4, which in turn supports h5, which in turn opens the h-file, which in turn checkmates black. And that's the whole goal with the queen on d2 coming after this, okay? But if you're playing f3 just to kind of make your center field warm and cozy, you're certainly not going to be better as white. The only real move you can play here is f4. But in this position, it probably doesn't work because of knight to g4. I'm guessing that's what you saw, so maybe you needed to play h3 first. Again, we're talking about a position that's a little bit unpractical to talk about because the first person to make a mistake here was really me by not playing d5 and properly punishing you for the bishop on d3. So if you're worried about the theory of this position, you're probably already playing a slightly dubious version of the dragon, and I would recommend learning some more of the main lines. But even so, f3 is just not the most useful move here. Of course, you can save the bishop and not blunder into the tactic that you did, but unfortunately, that was not in the cards for you. So who else did we got here? We got so many people. I'm going to read out your usernames because I'm not going to get to all of you, all right? Proud Pessimist, that sounds ironic. Mr. Pothead, right? We know what that's about. Tom Brady, SB49 Champ. Swezeningen, I love that. Justin Z314, Nad Pescador, Buddha 46. Name I'm not going to pronounce with a Z in it. And then we go way back to the dawn of time. All right, well, again, everybody who's not going to get a game here, just know that I love you. Just know that, right? If anything else, you know that I love you. So I think that's probably a worth it thing to do. But I'm just saying, all right? All right, let's take on Tom Brady. Before he loses to the Chiefs this weekend, I think he deserves another chance. Tom Brady. Let's do it, Tom Brady. Before Alex Smith and the Chiefs upset you this weekend, buddy. Oh, it's happening. You get ready. Another Scotch, huh? All these Scotch games is driving me to go get some. No, I'm kidding, right? All this talk about Scotch makes me think about my nightcap. All right. Just a little bit of a nightcap, that's all. All right, so he also immediately puts the bishop on b6, which I'm going to take advantage of and try to go win the bishop pair. And that should help me expand where I want to on the king side. Now I have the bishop pair, a 4-on-3 majority, and a middle game advantage. So happy town. I can even just trade queens, right? Because the endgame is almost offering just as many advantages as the middle game because of the bishop pair and the structure and all that stuff. So we will go for this. I guess I'm going to build up on that. Build up on the pin. Okay. He's tired of the pin. I get it. He's tired of going up the down staircase. I've been there, homie. Now we will go get the G file. Yeah. Okay. So sorry, not the best work. Again, putting the bishop on b6, you're giving me the bishop pair and a very easy time. Leads to a pretty straightforward advantage for white. Of course, the big mistake you made after that is only here with knight to g8, I guess. But I mean, the position again, if you're analyzing games and you're only punishing yourself like mentally for the blunder, first of all, don't punish yourself, right? No need to be a masochist. It's just a game. But if you're criticizing yourself for knight to g8, then you're missing the point that the position was already much worse. So there you go. All right, who else do we got here? We got some more. We got Edward Laser. I'd like you to meet my team. Blade, Razor, Blazer, my personal consigliere, Michelle. Oh, wait a second. I just accepted a Hashtag abort. I just accepted a 3-minute game. Blade, laser, blazer. My personal consigliere, Michelle. And the world's most deadliest woman with a dodgeball, Alexandra Delanov. Let's go, people. We got a 1-1 here. I'd risk the bullet simul with everyone going slow before we get into the show, but I'm so nervous about potential bugs, right? I'm so nervous. But let's take on Proud Pessimist as well. We'll see if we can get a bullet simul going here. Oh, no bullet simul. Proud Pessimist. A Nimzo. A transposition to a QGD. A Nimzo transposed. That sounds like a good title for an autobiography. A Nimzo transposed. One man, one transposition. 2 weak squares in the center. 1 unpinned knight. 37 opportunities for redemption. So now what we're going to do is try to go checkmate white, because we have this very nicely established pawn on e4, which is going to make it a little bit difficult for him on the king's side, because that pawn on e4 keeps the knight out of f3, and so now I'm going to guard e4, probably play h4 here next, and then if we're really lucky, maybe I'll get a rook lift before it's over. If we're really into making Larry Christensen happy, I'll get a rook lift. Well, I am not sure this was the best. Although, actually, if he had played knight e2, then I couldn't play the move I'm playing now because of knight f4. So if he had played knight e2, what should I have played there? Maybe knight h5, I think. Yeah. But as it is, I get what I wanted all along. And now I'm going to keep that knight on h1 out of play, right? That's fun. A little bit evil of me, but still fun. A pawn is a pawn. Let's inch our way into this scenario here. Let's inchworm our way in, and now we'll skewer the queen and the rook, given that we have the extra protection of our own first lady here. So, yeah, if he had played knight e2, then I wouldn't have been able to take h3 because knight over fork. But I think I could have played knight h5, and I've still got a lot of potential on the king side. He should move the king to prevent bishop takes h3. But as irritated as I am that I can't just play queen g5 and rook lift, I think black is still in the driver's seat here. Would have been a little tricky, though. I don't actually see the best move for me. Maybe just bishop e6, actually. Play solid chess, put the bishop on d5. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, we continue to work our way closer and closer to bobbing for Delugi. People are like, oh, I'm not going to get a chance to play Danny because just mathematically, but you may get a chance to play Delugi. Don't go anywhere. In about 10 minutes, Maxime Delugi will be on Chess TV, rocking and rolling. Just having fun. I don't know what, I haven't watched his show recently. I don't know how much analysis he generally provides after the games are done. But I'm going to quickly search a couple of games here, see if I can get one title player to bite before the show's over. I know we got everybody else here, and I know you're frustrated. Edward Laser, I would accept your challenge, dude, but you already missed it, homie. We got Super Integration, Gladys 2K. So many people, not enough time. I'd like to improve my rating. I need to play better and not lose to like a 1600 like I did, and drop 20 rating points in the process. Pan off Botvinnik, pan off Botvinnik, pan off Botvinnik. Yep. Am I playing 1-1? Apparently I am. Apparently I'm playing 1-1. And that is what it is about right now. A slightly unorthodox move over here, right? It's like, oh yeah. Why not? One of my main ideas now is to just prevent castling. I've always been a fan of preventing my opponent from castling. Right? He who castles into check commits an illegal move. He who walks with wolves often has scratch marks. All right, well that seems a little risky. That seems a little risky, so we're gonna go get the B file and all that stuff. We'll get the C file too, perhaps. Go in here and gang up on that pinned pony. Make him guard the B2 pawn. Just do it anyway, right? Interesting. I'd like to sack the queen for kicks and gigs. That would probably be the only way to lose this game, right? Is to go sack the queen. Should I do it, though? Should I do it? Ooh. It seems so nice and fancy, yeah? It seems so nice and fancy. I'm not going to do it, though. I'm going to show that I have matured as a human being and a chess player and not go for something that's just ridiculous. Although, it might have been more fun, honestly. I think I had a lot of compensation there. But as is, we will play the position the way it was meant to be played. Which I think involves something like this. I don't even know what's going on here. Am I going to lose on time here? What's going on? What is going on here? How is he surviving this? What is going on here? Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should have just played queen b2 check. Queen f2 check, sorry. What am I doing? Am I going to lose this game? I guess I'll just take it now. I don't even know if that was right. I'm nervous because of the time. I don't know how I've mishandled this position so badly. Feels real bad though. Doesn't feel good. I'll tell you that. Well, that was pathetic. That wasn't fun chess. Oh, man. That wasn't good. That was not good chess by me. But managed to win. So we'll take it. All right. Well, we're getting down to the wire. Let's take on Delirious Danny. That sounds appropriate. That sounds a little bit appropriate, right? It's like, right here. It's like, oh yeah, right. Wait, that was a 10-0 game. Dude, why are people challenging me to ridiculous time controls? You know what this is? You know what this is? All right. Zweningen. Zweningen. I like that. I like that. So we'll play an Accelerated Dragon ourselves and see how that goes. Aha. He makes a mistake in the move order. We will get one final instructive moment at the end of the Bowl of Brawl. So that's good. Don't go anywhere. One final instructive moment, and he's taking his time because he knows something went wrong. We're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. He was a thief. You've got to believe. She took my heart and my cat. It's a piece, Brochach. Joni loves Brochachi. All right, and that's a piece. So where did he make his mistake? You can't play the F3 move order against the accelerated dragon. You have to play bishop to c4 first, and then after castles, voluntarily put the bishop on b3 to avoid the kind of tactics that just occurred where the queen essentially forks the b2 pawn and the undefended bishop on e3, which is what happened here. It's not an obvious fork, but it's a fork. Right? Because I'm threatening things like knight here, knight takes e4, opening up the bishop on this, so it's really a mess, and you can't move this knight to any square without losing the bishop. And of course, you saw what happens if you take here. And this doesn't work either, because I take here on b2, right, even though you defend the bishop, and of course, after you take g7, I just take here with check first, and now you're losing material. So it's not that bad. If you get this position next time, just play bishop b3 anyway, and I'll go for a knight to g4, and you're positionally much worse, and but the game isn't resignable yet. So that would have been the best way to play it. The best thing for you to do is to stick around and watch Maxime Delugi go to town, bobbing for Delugi. People have asked, why is the show called Bobbing for Delugi? Because have you ever gone bobbing for apples? Yeah. You ever notice how much Max Delugi's head looks like an apple? I made up the show name. There you go. And it also is like kind of like you're going bobbing for apples, bobbing for Delugi. Like some people are going to get Delugi, other people are going to go bobbing, and they're just going to end up with a face full of cold water, right? And a kick back at the house. So those who go bobbing for Delugi and successfully bring themselves back a Russian grandmaster and former World Blitz champion who happens to look like an apple, well, good for them. Good luck to you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your life. If I don't see you, right? Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace out.